The best way to improve your fluency in English is by reading. You don't have the confidence in speaking English after years of studying because you don't know enough idioms. Avoid mistakes at all costs when you speak English. Keep watching videos and movies in English and you will effortlessly get to C2 level. How do you know what I was saying was true? Actually, none of this I think have any truth in them. But the point I'm trying to make in this video, in this day and age when the World Economic Forum ranked misinformation and disinformation to be the #1 threat to humanity. There's nothing more important for any intelligent, talented and ambitious professional to master than their mind. If you're still struggling with speaking English confidently, communicating effectively in lots of situations, it's probably because you still believe the lies you've been told. It's about learning English, the lies about what success feels like, what happiness is, what learning a language is like, or even what it means to be a good student. And if you keep continuing to believe in these lies that you've been told by your parents, your family members, your society, or even by school, that you're about to learn more about if you stay until the end of this video, you're going to keep wondering why you don't have confidence in speaking English after years of studying. If you don't speak English confidently yet, but you're an ambitious professional, a business owner, an academic who knows how important it is for you to master the English language, to be able to speak English confidently and communicate clearly and effectively so you can get that next promotion, that job opportunity in another country or even in your own country, earning more money, working with international clients in your business. Here's the truth. Confident English speakers don't speak English confidently because they know everything, because they studied all the advanced grammar structures, not even because of a special talent or because they speak English like a native speaker. They speak English confidently because they choose to think differently. And if you want to find out more about the exact 5 steps that I took to overcome my insecurities and build confidence in speaking English by the age of 20, make sure you check out my free PDF you can download in the first link in the description below. The first lie you believe in, and this is something most of us learn back in school, is that intelligence, being smart, is about knowing everything. You've probably taken English courses in the past. You might have watched movies and series in English, sometimes might have even turned the subtitles off, perhaps even tried to speak with people online or in real life situations to practice, but still hesitate, think about the perfect word to say next, and worry about the mistakes you make or how you don't sound very natural when you speak and you keep translating from your native language. Partly because what you think makes you look smart is knowing everything. So if you don't know something, if you forget something, if you make mistakes, that means you're not smart. Do you see 3 5-year-old kids who are still learning to speak their native language, still have limited vocabulary to express themselves? Maybe they communicate with 3 5-word sentences. They might still confuse words like tomorrow and yesterday and make a ton of mistakes. Hold back from communicating? No, because first of all, they don't care about what other people think about them, and second of all, because they don't think that what makes them smart is knowing everything. So they are comfortable with not knowing, they are comfortable with not having enough vocabulary, and they are also comfortable with making mistakes. They accept them as part of the process. What makes them smart is that they keep going, growing and improving, and they get to expand their vocabulary, communicate more effectively by the age of around 8 to 10, sometimes even earlier, because they keep communicating, expressing themselves, and then focusing on getting better and better and better, despite the challenges. What helps my most successful students in our community build confidence to speak English in front of other people is understanding that events, when you make mistakes, when you happen to forget words or mispronounce some words, you might not understand every single word somebody is saying to you, are neutral. It's your thinking, your perception, your interpretation that defines how you feel about that situation. Struggling English students, when they make mistakes, many times say to themselves, I knew I couldn't say a whole sentence without messing it up. I can't believe I made that mistake again. Even I'm such a loser. Whereas professionals who experience exactly the same event, the same experience, the same situation, forgetting words or making mistakes, build confidence because they choose to think, by making this mistake, I can finally understand what not to make mistakes with again. Everybody makes mistakes. Why would I expect to speak perfectly when making mistakes is what makes us human? Or I'm focusing on what learning to speak a language is all about. Connection. Got the coffee I ordered, I told the story I wanted to tell my friend. Why would I worry about not doing it perfectly when I achieved the communicative purpose. Struggling English students spend years and years studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary just like they did back in high school, understanding movies but not being able to communicate, using all those useful phrases, expressions that they can find in those movies and podcasts, and still don't have confidence in speaking English after years of studying because of continuing to hold this belief. Intelligence isn't about knowing everything, because we have information all over the internet. We can look up anything we don't know about on Google or on Wikipedia. We can find hundreds and hundreds of books, movies, podcasts, videos in English. If that was enough, knowing all the rules, memorizing all the words, you would already be speaking English fluently and confidently, wouldn't you? Intelligence is simply speed of learning. The most intelligent people I know understand that they have a choice in what they believe in and what thoughts they keep entertaining. They don't waste time thinking the same way, worrying about mistakes. They understand that they can choose to think in a way that actually helps them make progress. You can either choose to think that making mistakes is a sign of weakness, or choose to think that making mistakes is what actually helps you gain strength, build confidence, get stronger, and learn to trust yourself. Because you are human. School teaches us that it's bad to make mistakes, but living your life thinking what is good or bad is only going to cause even more frustration and a lot of uncomfortable moments, missing out on opportunities. Instead, I always ask myself, doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Does it help me improve? Is it useful for me to believe this? Avoiding mistakes because you believe that making mistakes is a sign of weakness won't teach you anything. Being open to making mistakes, so you realize what mistakes you make, so you no longer have to make them, will actually help you speak English better. So which one of these two beliefs is actually more useful to hold on to? If you're still wondering, who's this guy telling me about lies I shouldn't believe? Welcome back. My name is Chubby. I'm an English fluency, learning and language anxiety coach, mainly focusing on helping ambitious professionals, business owners, people who have goals, who want to improve their life or career opportunities by learning how to speak English more freely, confidently, comfortably, and fluently, with the help of improving their listening and spoken interaction skills. These are topics you're interested in or would like to find out more about. Make sure you check out some of my other videos and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and the notification bell, so you can get all the updates I share here, all the motivation, inspiration, everything from my own experience of learning to speak English and 4 other languages as well, so you can learn to speak English fluently and walk into that next conversation with confidence. The second biggest lie, which is something I also used to believe for a really long time, telling you I wasted years and years not improving my fluency at all, still struggling to find the words to express myself despite memorizing lists and lists of words and watching movies, overthinking every single conversation about what perfect word to say next, hesitating, having no clue what to say or what to reply. Realized I was only happy when I spoke English perfectly, which never happened, so I was never happy. Thought by only speaking perfectly, I could control what other people think about me or what they do when I speak English. Perfection is more of a control question, and it's not a sign of inability to learn to speak a second language. The biggest journey I've been through over the last 10-15 years, which is something I share a lot more about in this video. The biggest journey I've been through, which is something I chose for myself, my own inner peace, was my journey transitioning from being a perfectionist, using my shyness as an excuse not to have a conversation with other people, into a confident English speaker who's now built an incredible business where I teach others how I did it. Because if I hadn't gone through this transformation, you would never see me sharing tips, strategies, inspiration, motivation, my social media channels. Most importantly, and this is partly why I always need to remind myself how proud I am of what I did, I would never have been able to help the hundreds of professionals, academics, business owners overcome their insecurities and speak English confidently, who took lessons from me or joined my community in the last 17 years. Perfection isn't about doing things perfectly, because first of all, no one can do anything perfectly. Second of all, a lot of perfectionists don't do things perfectly. They're just very good at hiding what they're not good at. Perfection is the highest form of self-abandonment. Because when you either don't make time to practice having conversations with other people, which you know is going to help you a lot with your career or life opportunities, just end up attending a course, checking boxes, going to the classes, but you still don't take risks, rise up to challenges so you can actually improve the way you express yourself or use more complex expressions to actually communicate more effectively and then have the confidence in yourself, you're missing out on a lot of learning opportunities that you could take to improve. What I learned by working with hundreds of professionals who are also perfectionists is that it's perfectionism that blocks all kinds of learning. So perfectionism is kind of the opposite of learning, because look at what a perfectionist does. They think they know everything, so they're not open to change their mind or the way they think about things. They think people only like them if they do things perfectly, so because they can't do something perfectly, they prefer not to do it, instead of focusing on being respected and being liked by the right kind of people, because it can't be liked by everyone. You don't like everyone in your life. Why would you expect everyone to like you? And thirdly, they think not knowing everything, making mistakes, makes them feel like a loser, simply because it's uncomfortable for them. Open-mindedness, courageous action, and discomfort, delayed gratification, so you can do something that's a bit challenging and then enjoy the benefits, a better job, a higher salary, are the foundations of effective learning. Perfection is the complete opposite of these. If you still don't have confidence in speaking English after years of studying, you probably deep down still believe the only way you can protect yourself from other people's judgment, other people laughing at you, other people's criticism, is if you speak English perfectly. But because you never speak English perfectly, you don't practice as much and as consistently with as much focus and joy as you need to see real results with your fluency in English. And I don't know about you, but have you ever been able to control what other people think about you? I'm sure there was a time when you bought a present to your best friend or your partner that you spent weeks looking for, and you were really excited. You thought you found the best present, and when you gave that present to them, they were like, oh yeah, thanks so much. They were not as impressed. So you prepared a lot, you put all your heart and soul into buying that present, and they didn't appreciate it the same way. You see, however hard you work, and I know this as a creator who spends hours and hours every single week creating content for my TikTok, for my YouTube channel, writing emails. Still loads of people who never say thank you, people who don't leave comments or like my content when I'm providing it for free. Do I have control over what other people think or what they do about what I do? No, and I'm only wasting my time trying to please everyone. The same people who judged you 2 years before when you weren't studying will judge you the same way, whatever you do. A lot of things happened to me since I moved out of my home country. One of the best things that could happen to me was being able to live in London and see how there are all kinds of people living there who don't give a rat's ass about what other people think. And I started to accept the people the way they were. I didn't try to control them. I was like, yeah, if you think this way, if you want to have a tattoo, if you want to spend 10 years studying at university, if you want to spend your whole day scrolling on your phone, do it. It's your karma. You're not doing any harm to me by the way you think, you feel, or you behave. What I need to focus on is what I think about myself and what I do about my success, my opportunities, and my freedom that speaking English fluently can help me get to. Ask yourself all the time, what can I choose to think? How can I choose to feel? And how can I choose to act? So I can start walking into conversations with more confidence. And if you want to read more about this and get a few more tips, make sure you check out that ebook I was talking about at the beginning of this video, right in the description below. Accept yourself as that wonderful, amazing, intelligent, talented person who you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses. Self-compassion, understanding that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to feel uncomfortable, it's okay to be emotional as you're learning to speak a language is one of the best, most effective ways you're going to make a lot more progress than the progress you've made so far with your fluency in English. You're not on this planet living your whole life to be perfect and be liked by everyone. You're here to make the most out of this experience and bring the best out of yourself in any situation or any opportunity you have. Because every situation you don't use or you choose not to use to improve your fluency, remember more vocabulary, or gain at least 1% more confidence is a wasted opportunity that you will never get back in your entire life. Confidence is built by stepping outside your comfort zone. It's not a feeling that we want to get to when we feel happy and we feel free. It's a stack of experiences that come from learning to trust ourselves by constantly finding ways to take one step outside our comfort zone. This is something we focus a lot on with my students, because one thing I really care about is my students' mental health and their emotional well-being. I mentioned this a lot when I talked about the difference between improving your English when you actually see progress and just practicing randomly that doesn't help us make progress. And improving your fluency is a lot more about lowering those unrealistic expectations, understanding where you are, and practicing just a bit above that level. Not expecting to, give a 10-minute persuasive presentation on the life of slaves in Costa Rica, but practicing something you can already do and aiming at improving by 1% every single time. If you're currently still feeling nervous about speaking English, that's okay. That's how you're supposed to feel when you're doing something outside your comfort zone. Don't want to learn extremely slowly or might not make progress at all for years, cutting yourself off of massive improvement with an open mind, with curiosity instead of staying in the fear. Courage and a little bit of discomfort, which could all catapult you into a faster learner. The only thing you need to show yourself, and you can start with the smallest things around your life or even in English, is that it's safe to be imperfect. It's human to make mistakes. And if someone has a problem with the grammar mistakes you make, the way you express yourself, or even your accent because you don't speak like a native speaker, if you deep down know that you are doing everything you can in your busy life to make time for conversation practice, requesting feedback so you can improve from every mistake you make, or stay consistent with that practice no matter the difficulties, that is not your problem. That's their problem. You always have a choice, and if you're dedicated to improving your life or career opportunities, living in another country, or working with international clients in your business, you can either choose to stay where you are, keep holding on to these beliefs, watch the next video, scrolling on apps, and because you never change anything about these habits, never seeing significant results or progress with your fluency in English. Or you can choose to do what a few people do, getting comfortable with the discomfort of requesting feedback, challenging themselves so they can focus on improving 1% every single time, staying consistent, actually making time no matter what in their busy lives so they can make progress in a shorter amount of time, and use that stress that comes with all the frustration, all the fear and all the confusion that comes up as you're learning to speak English as a fuel to keep getting better and better, to keep going, to keep improving, growing as a person, and communicating 1% better every single time they try. Which of these two ways are you going to choose? Let me know in the comments.